Let me show you how to grow your own wedding bouquet or a bouquet for friends. There are a lot of reasons to grow beautiful flowers in your garden. And one of the reasons that I like growing lilies is because I love to give them to friends as gifts. Just look at this variety. This pale butter yellow is called yellowween, like in Halloween, but yellowween. And I just wish you could smell the aroma. That's the reason my friends love this. You show up at the front door with a bouquet of these, they just go crazy. Whenever I cut flowers from my garden, whether I'm using them for my home or giving them to someone, I like to cut them early in the morning, and I like to put them immediately into cold water. I always go for a mixture of lots of buds, like this one, and some that are already opened. And any of the flowers that are almost spent, you can see this is a good example of one that's almost spent. You can see it's looking kind of tired. I would avoid that flower. So these look really good and fresh, and I always try to cut the stems about the same length. Yellowween is actually an oriental lily hybrid, and what's fantastic about it is that it can grow up to, well, 5 to 6 feet tall, and each of these bloom stalks can have up to a dozen flowers on them. You see, these were actually developed for the cut flower industry, but then somebody discovered that these actually grow very well outside of a greenhouse and in gardens. Believe me, these have done beautifully in my garden. In this part of my cutting garden, we planted these bulbs 3 years ago, and they just keep coming back year after year with more and more blooms. Now, one of the things that I've discovered about these lilies, and this goes for any kind of lily that I grow out here in my garden, if I cut off the seed pods, and let me show you an example of a seed pod. You see here, after they flowered, the seed pod forms. The seed pod is from here to here. What I like to do is go along and cut the tops of these lilies out. You don't really want these lilies to put energy into making seed pods. They're not any good to me. I want the energy to go back and building up a big bulb so I'll have lots of blooms next year. Now, once I have this bouquet assembled, what I'll do is I'll tie a big ribbon around it, and I can deliver these to my friends without any water, as long as they're not out too long. And when I arrive, I'll ask my friends to recut the stems and get them in water as soon as possible. Also, if they're planning to use these lilies anywhere near fabrics, what we might do is clip out these stamens that have pollen on them, because if this pollen gets onto fabric, it can stain it. That's why when these lilies are used for wedding bouquets, whether they're for the bride or the bridesmaids, they always cut the stems out. Beautiful addition to a wedding. If you're enjoying these segments on how to grow beautiful flowers and other things to make life more enjoyable, check in with us regularly and make sure you subscribe to ehowhome. Here comes the bride. Dun, 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 dun.